coffee.
I would love to let them know more about which is the full process that you do in Colombia.
The full process.
Yeah, for the green coffee.
Well, you mean the process when we pick it, like natural, fully washed?
You start with the harvest, right? The people probably they don't know, or maybe they know that the coffee is coming from the tree, and it's a flower really at the beginning. After it's a cherry. So can you please explain us a little more about the process itself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we buy seeds, or if we already have seeds in our farms, then we use those. We go to a bed that we made with sand. You know, it can be like black sand. Is just the regular sand. Then you put the beans in there. After about 2 months or 3 months, you have a small tree, maybe 10 centimeters, and then you go to another bag where you use the black. It's not called sand. It's tierra. I don't know, earth.
Yeah, terre.
All right, yeah. And then you put it in there, and after about another 3 months, then you have like a still being a small tree, but it could be 30 or 40 centimeters. Then you go to the farm and just plant it on the earth. Yeah, it doesn't have to be on a bag anymore. You go straight away to the earth, and then when this coffee tree get 2 years or 2 years and 2 months, you're getting the first cherries. You know, but those cherries, you don't use it to sell it to people, because the tree is still being too young and still having a lot of time to get better. You know what I mean? Like, it's still being too young to get very good cherries from it. So those cherries, for example, go straight away to sea market because it's bad quality.
Right. You know? So basically, we can say that you buy that tree, or you build that tree, you develop the tree, you grow the tree.
Yeah.
You cannot have a harvest until
3
years after.
3 years. After 3 years, you can start picking your first cherries. But the tree is gonna be on his better or his best moment at 5 years.
5 years. So
5 years,
just for people to know that, I think it's a huge investment, honestly.
I know it's a lot of time.
Because you are gonna receive your money 5-6 years after.
I know.
And you invest your money.
Yeah, that's it. And you have to invest a lot of money on chemics, or you know, a lot of time with the workers, keeping an eye on it, water, all that stuff that the tree really needs to get his best. So specialty coffee is really expensive, not just for you as a customer buying a green coffee or a cup of coffee, but for us, because we have to invest a lot of money to get the best from it. That's it.
So once you have the tree, when is the moment that you pick up the cherries from
it depends directly on the altitude. You know, the meters above the sea, we have different times in the year, but we can say that most of it in Colombia, we have 2 harvests, which is between March and April, and then between September and October. Then during the middle of the year, we're talking about June and July, we have like a half harvest, which is not as much coffee as the other 2, but is the half of it. But you only get that half harvest, what we call traviesa, on the lowest farms, 1,300 meters above the sea to 1,500 meters. Over that, you only have the 2 harvests. You know, you don't have a traviesa or a half harvest. And above 1,800 or 1,800 meters above the sea, above that, you only have 1 harvest of the year.
Right. We can say that Colombia has more harvest than other countries growing coffee.
Colombia is the only country in the whole world where we have harvest all year long. All year long. In Colombia, there's always coffee, always, because of in Colombia, we have from 0 meters above the sea to 6,500 meters above the sea, right? So we have all the climates, all the weathers, but actually coffee just grow. The highest coffee I've seen growing is 2,300 meters above the sea, but that's a huge difference between the sea and 2,300, you know. So we have all the weathers, all the climates. So when for example, in my region, we don't have coffee in January or December, is really not a lot of coffee, but then in Huila, in Nariño, in Santander, there is a lot of coffee because they are in harvest in that moment. So Colombia is the only the only country in the whole world, sorry, that has a harvest all year long.
How long takes for you guys to ship the coffee, to send the coffee to other countries? So,
well,
I mean, I'm gonna receive the coffee in the next 2 months, 3 months.
It depends. It depends the process of the coffee. It depends the way we process it, and it depends the country you're talking about. For example, when we pick the coffee at the end of the harvest, we're talking about the end of April, for example. We pick all the harvest. Then we have to process the coffee. So we have to mill it, we have to dry it, we have to, you know, pick it again or selecting it again. So if you're talking about specialty coffee, it's gonna take about, let's say, 20 days or at least a month having a coffee already processed and packed in a bag. But then if we are talking about a natural, for example, it actually needs 4 months of stabilization in that bag to get the flavor we want. So we have to go every week and take 100 grams of that lot and taste it, and we can say still missing, you know. Let's wait a little bit. So after 4 months, usually 3 months, if it's a natural process, natural dry process, when you try it or you taste it, you say now's the moment to sell it. So that's the moment when you start offering your coffee. So if you're talking about a natural which is actually well processed, it has to be 6 months before, you know, it was picked 6 months before.
Right. We are gonna go.
But if we are talking about a fully washed, it could be a month and a half or 2 months.
2 months. Right. We can say on average it's gonna take between 2 months to 6-8 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't want to get into processing because I want to talk later more about that.
Yeah.
For example, when is the moment that you pick the cherries from the tree? So I would love to hear from you with your experience.
Well, they must be only ripe and overripe cherries. You cannot pick unripe cherries because it's gonna taste like bad on your cup of coffee. I don't know how to say astringente. It means it's dry on your mouth.
Harsh,
exactly, harsh or dry in your mouth. So it's only ripe and overripe cherries that we are picking. So that's other problem, because in the past years, our grandparents, our parents, they were picking all the cherries during the harvest, even though they were green or yellow, or, you know, they were not ripe already, but they were picking all the things because it was easier to pay a worker which is taking or picking all the cherries in one day. But if you are taking only the ripe and overripe, this guy has to come day by day during 15 or 20 days, picking only the ripe and overripe. And if you find a green bean is still not ready, you have to come the next day and see it, and it maybe takes 8 or 10 days to be red, or, you know, to be ripe. So that's a lot of more investment on workers.
Yeah, even you have to train them to do the right.
We have to train them. We have, in all the farms, we have it's kind of a board in the farm well, not in all of them, but in most of the specialty coffee farms, it's kind of a board in the wall where you can show all the pickers before the day starts. You take them there and you show them like, well, this is not ripe, this is ripe, this is overripe. We only need these two kind of beans. So please be careful, because if you, for example, as I do in my farm, if they pick a bean which is not ripe, I pay them a little bit less, you know. But if they pick only the good ones, like the ripe and overripe, I pay them a lot more. So they are all the time keeping an eye on not taking a green bean.
Yeah, looking after the quality.
I know, they are keeping an eye on it, so they get more money.
So far we have talked about the tree, cherries, the moment that you pick the cherries. Tell us about when you have when the worker came with the cherries to the farm. So what